ian.is.weird, depending on where you're watching this. Um, so I need to work on some orders. I've been putting this particular order off for a while. No particular reason other than I just haven't been feeling my best. Also, my computer completely had to reboot. So if it sounds like I'm preparing for takeoff, it's just my computer's trying to catch up with the rest of these things going on. So, I have two packers. They conveniently are both in the same yarn. One needs to go out on the 17th, and one needs to go out on like the 30th. But I'll obviously start on the soonest one first. And like I said, they're both um, the same yarn. They just are different sizes and packing levels, like fullness levels, I guess I would say. So it's been a while since I've done a packer, like, I think like well over 2 weeks, which might not seem like a lot, but I think I've kind of forgotten the pattern a little bit. So I'm going to pull it up on my phone um, so that I can work on it with you all. Now I have a lot of irons in the fire, or whatever the that phrase is. I'm working on a bunch of different things. Obviously, this packer comes first. The customer comes first. I'm also working on my blank but make it Halloween challenge, which I'm doing. I was kind of torn between two projects for that, so I started both of them. Um, and one didn't work out, so I moved my attention fully to the other one. Um, Good news, I completed my first panel um, knitting machine project. So that's pretty cool because that's been something that's given me a hard time for a very long time, and I feel like I have a lot better understanding of it now, which is cool. Um, And so I'm working on that. I'm doing the prompts were cozy but make it Halloween. Wait, no, sorry. No, cozy but make it voodoo. And I was like, I have no idea what to do. But I managed to use the Sally yarn, the red heart in jewel tone, which looks like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. And I thought she would be a good example of like kind of like a pincushion doll. And so I need to steam block that. I used the full skein, and the scarf is the perfect length. Um, I decided to do that instead of crocheting a scarf because I didn't really have the capability of getting more yarn that color, so or in that stripe pattern. So I was like, well, knitting uses um, less yarn, so it'll stretch the skein further. Maybe I can get a full scarf out of this, which I did. And then I decided to do panel knitting so that it would be wider once I blocked it. Now, before you block it, both of the edges tend to curl in because it is a stockinette stitch. So if you don't really know knitting very well, there's two like main stitches, and that is knitting and purling, and they're kind of like the mirror of each other. And if you oftentimes when we see knitting, this is not a good example because this is not stockinette stitch. But oftentimes when we see knitting, we see like you can see it kind of in the ribbing of this. Is a terrible example. Sorry. Okay, so see these parts that are really flat? That is stockinette stitch. So stockinette is when you knit one row, and the next row you purl, and the next row you stitch, knit, and the next row you purl. And so it creates a really nice flat look to it, and it's beautiful looking. But stockinette by itself tends to curl really badly. So to counteract that, I'm going to wet block or steam block um, the yarn. I need to steam block it because just wet blocking will not work because it is acrylic. Acrylic is plastic. Plastic does not change shape when it's just wet. That's kind of one of the things we like about plastic clothing, right? So I'm going to steam block it, see how that goes, and then I'm going to hand embroider some like stitches, and then I might put like a heart applique on it with like maybe like a pin or two coming out of it. Just some kind of additional bits. So I'm working on that. That's one of my irons in the fire. I tried to start the herringbone hexagon cardigan from Bag a Day. Beautiful pattern. Once you get the hang of the herringbone stitch, it comes very naturally. I kept on like, the herringbone is kind of a modification of it's kind of like somewhere between double and treble crochet. So like the way you pull up your loops and what loops you pull up when are different from either of those stitches. And I kept messing up because I'm so used to just doing like a double crochet that I would just pull through two, and then I'd be like, oh shit, I'm not doing it wrong. I'm not doing the right thing. So I worked it to where it was kind of like about this big, and hexagon cardigans start in the armpit and work their way out. Hexagons have 6 sides. Mine somehow had 7, so pretty much we need to frog the whole thing. So I was like tossing this idea, we're gonna do something different. I still want to do that cardigan, but I just was too discouraged to keep doing it. Plus, it's a slower stitch for me because, like I said, it took a while for me to get in the hang of things. And then another thing that I'm doing, I have a couple secret projects going on that I've had like on and off for a while. I don't talk about because I don't know when I'm going to get to them, and I don't want anyone anxiously waiting on the edge of their seat for me. One thing I'm working on is developing a pattern for a kilt. I know this doesn't look anything like what you would expect a kilt pattern to look like, but what I'm doing is I'm combining 2 new skills. For me, one of them is weaving tartan fabric with crochet, and the other is pleating. The pleating is a lot less intense of a thing to understand. However, describing it on paper, like in a pattern, is a little tricky, I think. So we'll see how that goes. um, yeah, and in that, I've done a lot of research into kilt making, traditional kilt making, um, different types of tartan, different patterns, how different tartan represents different clans, and how just like tartan in general can be a lot of different things, and just kind of the art and skill of kilt making, which is really beautiful and is a dying art that I think is starting to see a reemergence around the world, but especially in Scotland. Um, and so I'm working on doing a crochet half kilt. So a half kilt is basically just from the waist down. And I would do it where it didn't necessarily need um, a lot of the, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm working on doing that, developing my own tartan colors. I'm going to use black and slime green. So a little non-traditional, very gothy, very punk. And I'm really excited about that, but it is a lot of work, a lot of hours, and a lot of like design time. So that's something else I have in the fire right now. So it's a lot, and we're just gonna get through it as we can. But first and foremost, we got to make sure our customers are happy. Um, so I'm going to work on this packer. Now, I've made this packer approximately 100 million times. and I love this pattern. It is a free pattern. It is available if you go in my description. It has a lot of tips and tricks and how to do it. It's a completely free pattern. It is not my pattern. It's a pattern I pattern tested for, and sorry, 1 second. I pattern tested for, and then the person who made it decided that they wanted to have it available as a free resource for trans folks, trans mask folks, anyone who wants to explore gender identity, cosplayers, costumers, whoever wants to use it is welcome to use it. It's a very easy pattern. The only thing that might trip you up if you are a very new beginner is maybe the first couple steps, but after that, I think you'll have no problem with that. So I would encourage you giving it a try. You want to make sure that you use 100% cotton or bamboo. Anything with natural fibers is going to be a lot more breathable than acrylic. Even though it's very tempting to use acrylic due to its low price, we really want to make these for the comfort and the wearability of the people who are wearing them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going from using, I've been working primarily with acrylic lately, and then going straight to like a cotton yarn is so like disorienting because it's so much more piecey than acrylic yarn, most acrylic yarns, and my hook is also much smaller than it typically is for my projects because I'm using because we want a fairly tight crochet. So if you were to go on my Etsy and you were looking for this color, this would be the color Americana. I named it that. It didn't have, it just, it's from Ice Yarns. I have a couple balls of it left. It has like light blue, like beige, like brick red, white, and dark blue, and like medium blue. So I thought Americana was like an appropriate name for it because it's very that. Um, this is also my softest yarn that I offer packer pattern in. So I do like when I get to make packers in this pattern or in this fabric or yarn because it's just really soft and it feels really good. Like my packer that I wear is made out of this yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This project is worked in the continuous round, so we just start at the base of the scrotum, we build up, and then we fold it and work the shaft of it. Oh, I almost like inhaled that. Stitch marker. So I've been kind of like under the weather for the past couple of days. I thought it was turning a corner today, but then I just kind of got hit by a wave of like the achy feeling. But I knew I needed to make this packer and get it out the door, so I wanted to make sure that I could do that. So um, I was like, I can't sit in front of a couch right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter hook. This is a Cashapp hook from Furls. It's discontinued, unfortunately. So hopefully this never ever breaks. I do already I could almost immediately start seeing wear on it. They aren't the most durable hooks. But even though the handle looks crazy and kind of looks like anal beads, Furls hooks are a lot more ergonomic for my hand. And when I'm making packers, it's really important for me to be able to um, kind of crochet for a long time. One second. Something about this is, I think my count's wrong. Let me check with the end. Eight. And then we're going to do an increase. Single crochet. Okay, so then once we're at this point, we're going to crochet 4 rows, 1 single crochet all the way around. This yarn really is so soft. It's 100% cotton. And like when I compare it to like a Lily Sugar and Cream, it really just is like leaps and bounds ahead of the other yarn. I need to update my Etsy listing to include the new skin tone that I have for people who are a little bit deeper in complexion, but not fully at like a cocoa or like, what is it, warm brown like level. So I need to update my Etsy listing because I really do want to. Something that's really important to me is making sure that it's available in as many skin tones as possible. Because even though it's something you wear under your clothes, I think there's something psychologically that feels just better when we do have options in our skin tone. And unfortunately, just with the range of um, brown and taupe type colors in available in yarn, there just really aren't a lot of choices um, that are the right weight, the right fiber content, because it needs to be 100% cotton or bamboo or something like that, the right price, or something else, or it's just harder to get, which makes it you know, obviously more difficult to make things like that if you can't easily get that cotton. So I did kind of go out on a little bit of a limb to add this new color. I've shown it before, but I'll show it again. It is this color. It is the color Sequoia in the Knit and Crochet, or the KNC Essential Cotton. And it's 100% cotton. It's 180 yards. It's a 4-weight cotton. It's very, very soft, very nice yarn. Usually this amount costs about $6.50 a ball, which to compare, so this is Lily Sugar and Cream. I always get the super size because it's generally the better value. And you get 113 yards. So like a little less than half. And this costs, I usually get it on sale for about 3 and some change. So I guess it is more comparable than I like to think, but just like if I don't get a bunch of these orders, like if I just get one, it's hard to pay for it, but I did get it on a good sale. So um, I wanted to, I finally kind of pulled the trigger, so to speak, on getting that yarn because, like I said, it's important to have good representation for all folks, or as many folks as I can. So, yeah, I'm excited to have that offering, and yeah, can't wait to update my Etsy listing. I think I'm going to stop offering a lot of the Um, like I think I'm gonna keep the variegateds that I have because I think those tend to sell well. Um, but I have like all of the colors of the rainbow individually listed. Um, but those never really get selected. Um, when I first started, I got a lot of purple ones, which was a really random one. But then like I don't think I've really done any like other colors like that. But I do need all of the colors anyway for the rainbow stripe and the trans stripe. And so I figure if I'm going to be using them in the stripe, I might as well list them as like a possibility for people. Yeah, I guess it won't hurt to keep it, but I, um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's just the grid that I have. Like I offer 16 colors, so that's 4 by 4. If I add another one, then that'll be 17, which will make kind of a weird grid. So I might take one off just to make things a little bit easier visually. So I'm starting my third row now. I also have a potential commission coming in for this kind of like rib cage with like guts coming out. And I've thought of a couple ways that it might be cool to incorporate it, because this person wants to use it for a photo shoot for a book cover of a book that they are writing. And um, while I understand that, like, obviously, like, at the end of this, only one image is going to come out of this. And so, like, they were like, either the guts could be, like, kind of like spilling out, but still attached to the piece, or, like, they would have them in their hands. I, so they kind of were like, either or. And I was like, how about both? And we put some magnets in those guts so that you can like reattach them and wear them, or you can have them out. Because I know that in a lot of photo shoots that I've done, just the more options you have, generally the better. Because sometimes, like, let's say like we had them all the guts in, and like things just aren't photographing and like giving the vibe of like what you want. Like the ability to pull them out and like kind of like make them look a different way is like pretty cool. So I think I'm gonna do it anyways, just because I like the idea of this being pretty versatile. And like I said, especially knowing what I know about photo shoots that I've done as a makeup artist, the more options you can give the photographer and and they can be ready for the final edit, the better. So I'm excited to start that. I need to make my way up to the scrap exchange to see if I can get some cool looking yarn that will be appropriate. I have like a couple things, obviously I have a fair amount of yarn. Hi, welcome in. Um, I have some yarn that I could start working with, but I kind of want to see what my options are in the realm of thrifted yarn, because especially for this project, um, a lot of the dynamicism, is that the word I'm looking for? How dynamic it looks is based on the different colors of yarn. So having like organs and stuff that are in different shades of reds and pinks will really help the project stand out and be different. But I don't need a lot of yarn of each color to do that. So something like the scrap exchange would be perfect for that. I love working with this yarn. It's so soft on my fingers, my fingies. Drinky, drinky. Oh, that was so gross. I'm sorry. Sorry for anyone who had to witness that. We're just like slobber string. Just like, ew. Ugh. Yeah, that was nasty. So I reached out once again to Joanne customer support for the app and was like, hey, things aren't coming up. And they're like, okay. Like, I did like the text line because I figured that would be easier to like follow up with people and I would have like documentation of what I've sent in. And so it got to the point where, like, so yesterday I was like, hey, like, any update on this? And a new person reached out and was like, what's the problem? And so I told them, and they were like, well, they might not have the staff um, to kind of like, do inventory and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, like, yeah, I totally understand. The problem with me kind of lies in the fact that there are a lot of in-store specific coupons, and I can't use any of it. And they're the best coupons, and I can't use any of them because it's not showing any yarn in store for me. And because they were going to give me like basically like a free shipping coupon, and I was like, this isn't super helpful, because like they usually have some kind of shipping coupon where you can get like shipping for $1.99. So it's like, okay, you're saving me $2 when I still have to wait longer to get the yarn, and I can't like just like go pick it up and start right away. So I was like, I don't really think this is gonna work for me unless you let me use in-store coupons on shipping, on like online orders, and you let me use another coupon, because Joanne typically doesn't let you use multiple coupons in your order when you order on the app. Um, so they're like, give me some examples of like things that you that aren't in store. Because I was like, I know some of these are in store. Like, I know not every yarn on the app is in store. They might be sold out. They might not even offer it in store. I understand that. But like, if you're telling me that like Big Twist Value in black is not available in store, I know you are wrong. Like, I just know you're wrong. So I gave a couple examples of yarn that I know for a fact are in store. And so like, let's say they did in fact run out of black. They still probably have white. So I put white there. And then I put the red heart jewel tone, because I specifically recall seeing that in store. So I gave them 3 examples. So hopefully they can work on that. I mean, I understand being short-staffed and not having updated inventory, but the fact that all of the yarn at the store that I go to is showing unavailable in store. All of it. And I know my store has at least some yarn, because it's a pretty decent sized store. So I don't think that assessment is true. Okay, so I'm working on the 4th row now. Shit, actually, did I just skip over? 3, 4. Okay, yeah, I'm on my 4th row. So like I know for a fact that it is in there. Sorry, I've been a little bit more absent with my YouTube page. I've been trying to start a life coaching side business, and have had a lot going on in my life. So I've really been trying to put a lot of eggs in that basket, and then I kind of don't have the energy to go live or create videos, or even like create new crochet projects, because I got a lot going on. Today I met with my attorney via phone, and we talked about my upcoming disability hearing, and it sounds like we're prepared, and he didn't say specifically, like, we got this one in the bag. I don't think he, like, from a professionalism standpoint, like, that would be appropriate anyways. So he didn't say that, but he seemed confident in my case. So that was reassuring. And he was very reassuring and, like, making sure that I felt comfortable to be, like, open about, like, the difficulty I have with being able to hold any job, because that's what disability is all about, is not just doing your old job, but doing any job in the national economy. So here's my rows. So I'm going to move my stitch marker up. I'm going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches. And then invisible decrease. And then 8 stitches. Hello, welcome in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Also, I'm going to be putting the thrift store that I go to that has yarn and all kinds of good stuff. They have an artist market there, and I'm going to be putting some of my work in there in hopes that it'll sell, because Etsy's been really good for selling packers, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I sell. So I want to make sure that I am kind of spreading my wings a little bit, and then that will hopefully be a little bit more monthly income. You only get paid once a quarter, but it's still not a bad deal. Okay. So 8 did increase, single crochet in 3 stitches. All of this is starting to come back now. Okay, and then 8 stitches. Wait, I fucked up. Because I was like, this doesn't look right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, welcome in. 6, 7. Hey, Lydia. How are you? been a pretty quiet evening. I'm working on a packer order that needs to go out on the 17th that I've kind of been slacking on. I kept on pushing it back. So I'm just finally getting around to it. I haven't done a packer in a little while. Hey, Roberta. Yeah, I know it's pretty late for you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Um, and I'm just making a packer. I was talking about some of the projects that I have kind of going on behind the scenes. One, I am still working on the Cozy Voodoo um, project. I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to go with the cardigan or with trying to use the jewel tone Sally Red Heart Super Saver to do some kind of voodoo kind of thing. I ended up using I used a skein, my entire skein of the Sally yarn, and did the panel setting on my 22 pin Addy knitting machine. I've never been able to successfully do the panel setting, so it was actually my first time being able to do that. I was really happy. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, I hope things get better, Lydia. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're feeling a little bit better. Um, I know myself have been a little under the weather, and even just being a little bit under the weather for me, just like I just feel like sometimes I feel like I'm like I'm I'm just barely holding it together, and just the tiniest grain of sand can throw out the entire operation. And I've I feel like that's how it's been. And I had my call with my disability lawyer today to prep me for my hearing, which is on the 5th of December. So we're getting ready for that. And that seemed to go over pretty well, but zapped me pretty strongly in the energy department. Um, but yeah, let's see. So projects. So I'm going to steam block the scarf. I didn't do the tubular setting because I wanted the scarf to be as wide as possible. So that's why I did that. But um, because a knitting machine knits in the stockinette stitch, if you just do a panel, it'll curl pretty badly. So you have to steam block it if you're using acrylic yarn, because acrylic yarn will not respond simply to wet blocking because it's plastic and needs heat to kind of melt and reshape the fibers. Um, but I'm gonna embroider some things onto the scarf to make them more voodoo. I'm not just gonna have the yarn as is. So I'm working on that, and I'm also trying to create a pattern for a kilt. This is something I've been looking for a little while and I haven't been able to find it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just make my own. So it requires two skills that I have had or am learning, have had to learn, whatever. One is tartan or plaid designing with crochet. So there are pulling yarns that you can use that will create a tartan or plaid effect. But for me, I wanted to create my own. Also, color pulling is something that I just haven't encountered that I've been able to do yet. Um, so the first step is making a grid like this. So I'm going to be making the whole kilt up to where the pleats are out of that, and then I'm going to pleat it oh, you've been dealing with some depression. I'm so sorry, Lydia. As someone who deals with depression as well, I can tell you that it's not easy. It's definitely not for the weak. Take some time, take some self-care moments. I said earlier in the video that I am starting a life coaching kind of like side business. If you're interested in any of that, you can look on in the description, and I have my Facebook link. And whether you want to just look through the post and try some of those things and see if they help, or if you want to schedule some life coaching sessions, we can do that. Just, let me know. I'm here to help. And if you just need someone to talk to, like, that's, I think, a large part of what like life coaching is about. So I know there's a lot of things in life that can make us depressed, and sometimes it's just our brains telling us to be depressed, and sometimes we just have to ride it out. So I really hope it gets better for you soon, Lydia. I know that that's not easy, and I'm really sorry that you're having to go through that. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So I have to, for the kilt, I'm learning how to do pleating, and then I'm also learning how to do tartan or plaid making. I don't have a follow button. I think, okay, let's see. It might be because it's just a page that you like, but I don't know why I wouldn't have a follow button. Let me see. I mean, it says that I have 7 Facebook followers, so someone's being able to follow it, but maybe the link I sent, you can't follow me through that. I don't know. But if you just look up Ian Walker Life Coach, you might be able to just do it through that instead of through the link. Yeah, but I post a lot of daily tips. So even if you don't want to do life coaching, if you just need a little assistance to get through the day, you can just kind of use some of the skills that I've learned along the way that I try to pass along. Thank you for checking though, Roberta. I appreciate it. Honestly, I don't really understand how these Facebook business pages work, so we're all kind of learning it together, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm on to the next part of my pattern. And then I have a commission, hopefully coming in, for, it's basically like a rib cage with like guts coming out. And the person who is planning to commission it is going to use it to do a photo shoot for a book cover. Trying to stay focused and keep myself busy. That's absolutely a great way to get through difficult times for sure. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself at the same time, because you can't be on and distracted 100% of the time, unfortunately. And so making sure that you're taking care of yourself is a big thing. And I think when people talk about self-care, sometimes what comes to mind is just like taking bubble baths and we're doing face masks and stuff like that. But really, I think that self-care can look like a bunch of different things to a bunch of different people. And self-care to you might be like going for a walk for 5 minutes and getting out of your house or anything like that. Just some people cooking is a really positive activity. But I understand completely, and whatever you have to do to get through this without hurting yourself, is a good coping mechanism because you're getting through it, and depression is definitely not for the weak. It is very difficult. Just taking a nap, absolutely, yeah. Listening to your body. What does your body need right now? What is it telling you that it needs? Those are all important things to kind of keep in mind. Like, I know for me, one big thing that I don't do enough is drink enough water. So I try to kind of mindfully drink water. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I guess I can explain that. So for me, in one of my therapy groups, someone talked about like this study of like when you like different water molecules under a microscope when you talk poorly or positively to them and how they change. And because our bodies are mostly made up of water, speaking to water that's going into our bodies positively and speaking about ourselves positively makes a big difference. Oh, I see, Lydia. Yeah, that is constantly something that, I mean, that's what is really difficult, right? Grief and missing loved ones. And I think there's tons of ways to deal with grief. And for me, what works best for me, and I don't know if this will help you, but I focus on the celebration. I try to focus on the celebration of someone's life. Always easier said than done because you still want to be able to pick up the phone and call them and be able to talk to them. But if I celebrate all the good times I had with them, then it it is, yeah, it's so rough. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna tell you that this is an easy thing. So I know holidays in particular, anniversaries of this sort are very difficult, and you're being a trooper and you're getting through it. And if staying busy helps you get through it, then stay busy. I think that's a great coping tool. Um, and, you know, the good thing is you also have people in your life like me, like Roberta, that love you, that care for you, that want you to be happy. And we're here to support you getting through that period of time. So you can always come up here and talk and, um, you know, share how you're feeling, and we'll always have your back. I mean, I think that's the best thing we can do for each other is have each other's backs. But I'm sorry you have to go through that. You know, I think that like a lot of people, it's easy to say like, losing people is a fact of life. But hey, that does not make anything any easier, and I actually kind of hate that mentality because like it kind of like erases how we feel. So just say I'm okay. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to not be happy that this is what's going on. And moving to a stage of acceptance is challenging, but can help us through these harder times. So I'm just, my heart's with you. I wish you nothing but the best. And I think that your method of, sticking through it and just, kind of focusing on distraction, anyone who says distraction's not a good coping mechanism is wrong. I think, you know, I think it's a great coping mechanism. I think we can occasionally use it too much. I'll speak personally when I need to confront things head on. But a little distraction goes a long way when you're feeling rough. So take care of yourself, stay busy, whatever you got to do, that's okay. We'll have your back no matter what. Hey, Jetten told me I need to get over it. I said, what the hell? I told her to leave me alone. I think that's fair. I think telling someone to get over it is just not helpful. No, it's not a problem, Roberta. A packer, and I don't think it has anything to do with age. I just think it's just what you're exposed to. Um, so, um, Going to group help yesterday helped a lot. That's so good. I'm glad that it's getting a little bit better. Yeah, I stayed busy and got my mind off things, and that helped me through it. So hopefully you're working through that too. And we're all going through something, right? And I'm glad we have each other. So a packer is it's essentially a prosthetic penis. But what it does is you wear it under your clothes and it creates a bulge. And uh, so People wear these for multiple reasons. Some people, like me, are trans and they want to have that aesthetic um, where their clothes fit in a different way. Some people like to do costumes or things like that. So really, like anyone who just wants that area to be a little bit larger or a lot larger, depending on the size of the packer. So basically, a packer. The packers that I make, they all look different. The ones I make, it has a scrotum, and then it has a like a shaft. And They fold over on each other. You stuff them, and then you wear them in your pants. Um, so that's what a packer is. And like I said, they come in many different forms. I have the pattern for free down in the description box below. I hope that link still works. If it doesn't, let me know. It is a completely free pattern. It's not my pattern. It's a pattern I pattern tested for over a year ago, I think, at this point. And The pattern maker wanted it to be distributed for free once it was complete. Um, and I head. It's making me sad. Lydia, you are doing a great job at coping. Give yourself some credit. You know, not everything in life is sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish for all of you and for myself that it was, but that's just not the way life is. So we're allowed to be sad. We're allowed to feel those feelings. Don't let anyone invalidate you and tell you that you're not allowed to feel your feelings. And if we could just stop being sad, then there would be no therapists in this world. No therapists, no life coaches, no nobody, because we would all have it all figured out. But we can't by ourselves sometimes figure out how to not be sad or to not be triggered. And we need a little help. So there's no shame in asking for help, in needing support, in wanting someone to validate your feelings. And on those left behind. And healing time is different for everyone. And you may be fine for 11 months out of the year, and then 1 month of the year, it comes up again. I totally understand. You know, the anniversary of my grandfather's death typically hits me in September. And I do have a hard time dealing with those moments and those feelings, but I talk about them, I get them out, or I say, hey, I know this is just a feeling I'm gonna have. Let me keep busy until I can, just kind of like those feelings and that time has passed. So we're all here to support you, Lydia and Jet. We obviously want you to be mentally and physically well, and feel your feelings, or don't, whatever works for you, but don't beat yourself up over it. And anyone who says just get over it can suck it, for lack of a better way to put it. We love you too. Okie dokie, went to the sounds. Okay. So yes, so these are back to you, Roberta. So these are actually like my best sellers, pretty much my only sellers. But I focus on making them as affordable as I possibly can because I'm a bit of a slower crocheter. But I also want to make these accessible. Needs to take a walk, yeah, off a short bridge, preferably. And that's a joke. But what was I saying? Fuck. No idea. Okay. Four. Oh. But if you do want to make these and you wanted to sell them, I'd absolutely think there's a huge market for them. So the packers that a lot of people get when they start packing are made out of silicone. And if you do not know what it's like to have a piece that's like approximately this big, that's silicone in your underwear in a region that's already very warm, you are literally sweating balls. And it's very hot. It's very muggy. It creates a swamp situation. And it's just not comfortable. Also, they're very heavy, so they tend to pull your pants and your underwear down if your pants aren't super fitted to you. Yeah, it's not fun. So I got this silicone packer, I saved up for it because they're a little pricey. you know, I think it might have been like $30 or something. I don't know. I don't remember how much mine cost, to be honest. It's been so long. But I got it. I was so excited to try it, and then like I hated it. And also it was too big for me. And I got like a one of the smaller sizes, and I was like, I like it just didn't work for me. So this pattern allows you a lot of creativity to really customize it. So for me, I have 3 customizations on my Etsy listing. The first and the most plain to understand is length. So I have 3 inches, 5 inches, and 7 inches. Really, anyone can get any use out of either any of those sizes. Um, you would, some people might think that 7 inch is like what everybody's going to go to, but some people just want the short, like some people just want a small one, and it's a lot more comfortable for them. So I personally wear a 5 inch. I think that's kind of like my average, and that's the one I sell the most. The second customization is how full you want your polyfill. So I do like a low, medium, and full. Um, and this is a more recent customization that I came upon, because first I was packing them very lightly because the pattern says pack it lightly. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then, so I did that. It was fine. It worked for me. So that's how I sold my packers. But I washed it, and because it wasn't full of polyfill, it all the polyfill kind of clumped together. Even when I worked it out, it still just like never really like returned to the same shape. Um, so I wanted to give people options. Um, Also, if depending on how big your pubic mound is, so just kind of like the 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 fat deposit on your pubic bone, like some people are more full than others. So if I wear a normal packer, it looks ridiculous on me because of the size of my natural pubic mound. Does that make sense? So it got very lumpy, very lumpy. Um, but yeah, I just massage out the lumps, and it's usually fine. But it's still like a little lumpy, but it still looks fine under clothes, so it's fine. Um, so they can adjust the fill of it. One thing, so I started packing them more full just in general, especially the shaft, because the shaft is pretty much like one circumference if you follow the pattern. And so I usually pack that pretty full, even on a light one. I'll pack it a little bit lighter, but I won't do it significantly. Most of the bulk comes from the scrotum. And so that's where I kind of dial up the volume or reduce the volume on how much I put in there. And then the third customization is color. Some people want like rainbow, or like this one I'm making in, I call the color Americana because it was a sale ice yarn, and um, I just had to think of a name for it. So some people like crazy colors, some people want rainbow stripes, some people, but I also like want to have skin tones available, and that's been a really challenging one for me. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but the skin tones has been a huge limitation for me, because in the realm of like uh, shades of brown, there isn't a whole lot of availability in like one line. So like I use a lot of sugar and cream, Lily sugar and cream. And so the skin tones that they have are cream, which this is fucking light. Jute, which is still pretty light. And then warm brown. That's it. So I wanted something that was easily accessible, 100%. Hi, Pixie Stitch, welcome in. So I wanted something that was a little bit more representative. Obviously, I don't need any colors in between here because they're still pretty light, but like there's a huge gap in this color and this color. So I finally pulled the trigger and got this KNC 100% essential cotton. It says it's a 3 weight, but I think it works as a 4 just fine. And I think that that is a lot better. It's a step in the right direction for sure. I mean, do I think that there are options like around this? Absolutely. But we're work in progress. Work in progress. It does need to be 100% cotton or 100% bamboo or bamboo cotton blend, or it just needs to be natural fibers because those are moisture wicking, they're lighter. Like I said, the silicone packers that people get, that I got, it's just a very like sweaty situation, and you're already sweating from that region anyways. So you need to have something that's easy to clean, will hold up over time. And that's why I don't use acrylic yarn to make the packers because I want them to be breathable, comfortable. When I'm wearing my packer, it is so lightweight, and because it's cotton, it's essentially made out of the same thing my underwear is made out of. So it's just I've looked and I've looked, and so one thing I was really excited about was, and I'm terrible at looking at the specs on yarn when I buy it online. I bought a lot of amigurumi cotton from Ice Yarn. Well, I bought it from one of like the retailers that resells ice yarns, and um, they had more colors, which I was really excited about. And then the yarn that I got was a 2 weight, and I need a 4 weight. And then it was also 50/50 cotton acrylic. And I was like, hey, that's not what I need, actually. Um, so, yeah. So if you have any recommendations, so it needs to be affordable cotton. That's my one thing. If I could find it in stores, that would be a bonus. And like stores available to me. Um, I have, I know they have their, I have a bunch of these packs. These are the 8/4 packs. I know there's also the 8/8 packs, which is more of like a worse, it's closer to a worsted weight, or 3 weight. But, but it's just that it's just hard to get to me. So like if I need, so I do 2 weeks for my packer orders. And let's say I ran out of color X. It's gonna take a week plus just to get that yarn, and I'm gonna have to pay out the ass for shipping just to get that yarn. Yeah, I have a bunch of, I basically have like the entire, I bought all of the packs. So I have this one. I have the Cotton King soft prints. These are pretty. Because I wanted to do some more like amigurumi type things, and I just wanted to have like a bunch of color options for a bunch of different designs. I got these a while ago. I haven't done anything with them yet. I think the first order of business for me with them is making a version of my cat, although I think I need something kind of brown. Or I might string these along with like a 4 weight brown or something. I don't know. Now, I wish that there was something like the Lion Brand Skein Tones, but it was available in cotton. That would be my dream, but it just doesn't. Ooh, cool. That would be awesome. I feel like that cool sounded very, like, sarcastic. It was not. Just happened that way. Okay. This should be 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you got a knitting machine? Very nice. I am just turning the corner where I feel like I can actually use it for something, because I just am not, they're not intuitive to me. I just they're not the best for me, but I just knit my first panel scarf and I'm very excited about it, because if you knew what it took to get there. It was 4-weight and I wanted 3. Can't remember what brand though. I know the KNC says it's technically a 3, but I feel like it's more of a 4. And that color really called to me. But like it normally is like $6.50 a ball and very rarely goes on sale. So I was a little nervous about getting it, but I decided to finally take the plunge because I was tired of not having enough colors. But yeah, it is very important for me to have like good color, skin tone representation of it, for people who realism is kind of what they want. You finished your first hat? That's so awesome. I'll send you the link when I see it again. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, 7 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one thing I would appreciate advice on, if anyone knows what I should do with this. So normally, people buy packers for themselves. They know what they want and they buy a packer. Um, for this particular packer that I'm making right now, the person who bought it included a gift message that they wanted to include with the shipment. And I don't know if I should just like print the page off and highlight the message, or should I like write it on a card, or like I don't know. What do you, those of you who do gift options, what do you do in that situation? Because this is my first time encountering it. I've always said like gift options are available, because I mean they are, but I actually don't really know what to do. And like it's clearly not, it's like an inside, um like inside, not inside joke, but like inside message to that person, so it clearly isn't coming from me. So does that mean they don't want me to write it? I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. I probably am, but I just like, I'm like, what do I do? Doing a live today at 3 p.m. Central Time. I'm taking the Crochet Queen China. She is not doing her live. Okay. So 3 p.m. Central. I always forget with the time change, because like normally Central is 1 hour difference, I think. And I think I should be free, but I'll keep an eye out for you. I know I miss a lot of lives, but I try to get as many as I can. There's so many people that I like Lydia, you and Zach. Those are the people, pretty much like the only lives I ever make for some reason. And like, I think it's just like that our like time is like synced up, but like um for some reason I was gonna say our periods are synced up, and I was like, nope, nope. Um, but fuck, lost my train of thought. But like Dana and Kelly and Granny D and all of these people that I love so much, um, I never make any of their lives, and I feel awful about it. So I will try to make it if I can. Also, if I am continuing to feel under the weather, uh, I might not even be able to pull that through because I've been burning the candle at both ends for the past couple days, and I've really been paying the consequence of that. So um, hopefully we can make that happen, make that work. If you didn't hear, I met with my disability lawyer today. He obviously could not say, hey, like, we're going to win this case, but he did imply pretty heavily that I have a strong case for my disability hearing on December 5th. So that's good news. It's kind of like a bittersweet moment when they're like, wow, you're so fucked up that like this is a pretty straightforward case. you know? Like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, see, I have a really hard time rewatching. I have a hard time doing replays, if I'm being honest. Like whenever people are like, I'm watching the replay, I'm like, why? Because I don't know, I find them terribly boring, but maybe they're not. I mean, if you like them, obviously watch them, turn them on, support them, and just go about your day. I'm not saying I don't want to support other people. I just find watching lives, like, on the replay really, really boring. Turn it on and crochet. Yeah, that's good. Um, so, I'm doing my last row of the scrotum. Are you having insomnia too? Every day of my fucking life. Hey, Mom B. Welcome in, my beautiful little starfish. Also, I've been sick and sleeping at like extra, extra, extra weird hours. Yeah. It's hard when you're a mod for people because you have to actually like, show up and be present, but I'm not consistent enough to be a mod for anyone right now. 2, 3. I'm done, like ordering everything. Ooh, I'm so excited. Oh, that I know that you are not super like into the gray ombre that you used, but I am obsessed with it. Like, I think that is my favorite part of the whole blanket. Like, if I'm being honest, Roberta, like, I think it gives so much cool dimension to the bells. I think it's brilliant. So I mean, you're allowed to feel however you want about your own project, but I think it's amazing. Or Yeah. 6. Yeah, I'm trying to think about how I want to word that, because at first I was like relapse season, and it's like actually I know exactly why this is relapse season. Yes, this is a very difficult time for a lot of people who deal with substance abuse disorder, and I hate that this is a difficult time for them, um, and that this brings up a lot of um, kind of running out of ink. I think it looks so cool, but I mean, I guess that's one way to think about it. Um, yeah, yeah, Mombi, I know you're doing your best to help everyone you can. Just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and that you're, we talked about self care earlier in the episode, and really want to extend that to everyone. Just make sure that you're putting your own oxygen mask on first, because we can't help other people if we're running on fumes. So please take care of yourself, because you're doing great work out there, but you're only one person. So be easy on yourself. I know, I know. It's very heart wrenching to watch people go through that, even if you haven't personally been through it. Um, uh, I mean, for me, I have a lot of family history. Not a lot, but I have family history um, with addiction very close to me. So I I know why this is relapse season, and I know how hard it is to watch someone who's really trying to put up a good fight against addiction, and watching them struggle, and it's very hard to watch. Um, but you're helping people. You're helping make that easier for them, even if they don't recognize it at the moment. You're helping them so much. So, um, you are an angel on this earth, and I know that they're lucky to have you. In times like these, and I was briefly in NA, and then I've been in some 12-step programs, kind of off and on for a lot of my adult life. And um, one thing that always sticks with me is the serenity prayer. And you don't need to be religious or even spiritual to use the serenity prayer, because it's just a um, really beautiful and succinct way of noticing what we can change, what we have the power to change, what we can't change, and having the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Because that's really what we're struggling, right? With, right? Is balancing those two. So, yeah, being an empath is very, very difficult, because we do tend to kind of take those emotions onto ourselves. But if you can kind of think of yourself as Teflon, I don't even know if this is a relevant uh, example anymore, but you take it in, but it doesn't stick to you. You just let it come right off. Because really, it's not your problem. I used to take all my friends' problems, put them on myself, and then I would have to shoulder all that burden. But like, they didn't ask me to do that, one. And two, why was I feeling so terrible when they were having to deal with something? So I could help them process through something, and then I could say, you know what? Not my problem. Now I can let it go. Doesn't stick to me. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I don't know. Think of yourself as rubber. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that, I sometimes forget how truly fucked the mental health system is, especially for those dealing with substance use disorder. And I got a huge wake-up call this fall that rhymed, because I was in a center that was originally created for detox and like rehab, and then they added on like a mental health wing because so many people have dual diagnoses, and it was very clear from a pure mental health standpoint that they were underqualified to deal with pure mental health that didn't have to do with substance abuse. So a lot of people fell through the cracks. It was really, really awful and hard to see. And just like hearing about the types of programs out there and the manipulation that they put on people who are struggling to stay sober. I mean, that's what I was going to talk to you about, Mommy, that when we were trying to like meet up, we can still meet up and talk about this, because it has blown my mind how many horrific facilities and programs are out there that take advantage of people in these ultra vulnerable times in their lives, and it's disgusting and sickening. And I just like I didn't even have any idea of how bad it was in some places. So so just the fact that you're there for people and you're there for a genuinely good reason, you want to help them. Yeah, it is. Government workers. I'm trying to chill now. Yeah. It's yeah, it's disgusting. Like I had a friend who told me about a facility that either he went to or one of his friends went to, um, in the great armpit of our nation, Florida, and they would literally pay people to come back to treatment. And to get into treatment, you had to fail a piss test, meaning they were paying you to relapse. What the fuck? It makes my skin crawl. So just like those are the types of things that I've heard about that I was like because mental health, like, yes, there's so many flaws in the system, but this is like a whole new level of like corruption, and it's disgusting. It's so gross. So yeah, we won't get into that tonight. We'll let everyone have like a nice zen sleep. Um, and I'm gonna go. I know, it's so messed up, right? When he told me that, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what the fuck? And then he, like, himself was a recovering addict, and I, Mommy. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But he was also telling me about like different places. I've been in touch with him since I got out. We were both in the same treatment facility. He was in for dual diagnosis, and I'm not going to tell you any information about him because that would be violating HIPAA. But uh, but he went to another place that was basically like coercing him to stay longer, and then when he tried to transfer out was like blackmailing, a combination of blackmailing him, and then the head of the organization would call these other places and tell them to give his spot away. So he was literally trapped there. Like I could go on for days and months and years about this, but I'm going to let you all go. It's 2 a.m., which means I'm about to turn into a pumpkin. So I love you all. I hope you have a great night. And if you need help this holiday season, please feel free to ask. Don't feel like you have to suffer alone. because we're all in this together. I know that sounds like a lyric out of High School Musical, and it is, but it's true. I love you all. I'll talk to you later.